Okay, let's see this. Okay. Uh, so basically, Brand Russell, or Russell Brand, basically got accused of all these sexual activities.
Some pretty big breaking news today because this morning, seemingly out of nowhere, Russell Brand for the first time has officially been charged with multiple counts of rape and sexual assault. And while allegations of this type are always highly contentious, this one in particular is more controversial than most because there's a lot more behind this than just the allegations that you're reading in the news. Because of who Russell Brand is and what he's been speaking about over the past few years, this case now has stitched into it politics, religion, conspiracies, celebrities, and allegations that are now up to 26 years old. So the big question that a lot of people are now asking is,
Did he do it? Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? Is he? What else?
why now, and what happens to him if he is found? Guilty. Well, Russell himself just posted a response to this news, so we'll get to see what he has to say about this whole situation. So, we're gonna cover all of that, so I guess let's stop the yapping and let's get... I don't have a whip. Crackin'!
Why doesn't he have one? This is like the first time I've not seen him with one.
Okay, so if you've clicked on this video, I very much doubt you don't know who Russell Brand is, so I'll skip the whole background blurb and just get straight to the point. Now, for context, this is not the first time that Russell has been accused of sexual misconduct. Throughout his career, he's spoken extensively about his drug addiction, sex addiction. I mean, he wrote a freaking whole book called My Bookie Wookie, or some shit like that, about the whole situation. One of the first, at least public, allegations made against Russell Brand go all the way back till 2006, where in an interview, Dannii Minogue said that Russell had sexually harassed her after she appeared on his TV show. She described him as a bit of a vile predator, adding, "I certainly don't think he has cured his sex addiction." And she said that Brand wouldn't take no for an answer. From 2006 to 2008, Brand received 5 complaints while he was working at the BBC. In 2007, his ex accused him of sexual assault and physical and emotional abuse during their 6-month relationship. And there are a few more, but nothing much came out of these allegations made a while ago, until a bombshell documentary came out in 2023. Now, this was really the thing that...
The allegations include great sexual assault, SA, controlling, and emotional abuse.
Led us to the moment we're at now, because the Sunday Times teamed up with Channel 4 to investigate and publicize all of these claims made against Russell between 2006 and 2013. The documentary was titled In Plain Sight, and they published allegations made from 4 women anonymously accusing Brand of sexual assaults and emotional abuse. And let me tell you, the reaction to this documentary was massive and global. Every media outlet was speaking about this around the world. And they also encouraged women out there who may have had similar experiences with Russell to come forward and speak out. One reaction following this documentary, which was highly controversial, was YouTube. They suspended Russell from their partner program based on allegations alone. And this is something personally I haven't seen happen to anyone before Russell and after Russell. I mean, we've covered the whole Young Philly situation multiple times, and, you know, he's actually being charged with rape, which is...
Did he actually do it though? No, we don't actually know. We will not. We will never find out until everything comes out.
Definitely one step
Bring it
further
up.
because, now, it goes from allegations from the public to essentially allegations being charged by the actual police. And despite that, there's still no news about him being removed from the partner program. Now, this reason in particular, and of course other aspects in the whole case, caused huge speculation about why these allegations were being brought up now. Because some of them, from the documentary at least, were from 2006, which is almost 20 years ago. Now, many of his fans speculated that this had something to do with his more recent political commentary that really gained huge attraction after the pandemic. As any of you who have seen Russell Brand's stuff, he became very outspoken about the government, about politics, and even said that he had to move a lot of his content away from YouTube because he complained about censorship. The Sunday Times themselves noted in this documentary that several of the accusers felt compelled to speak out given Brand's newfound prominence as an online influencer, as opposed to his previous stuff, which was more actor, comedian. So we're already seeing that separation between what he was doing before and what he's doing now, and kind of what's been the result of that. Now, by far, the biggest thing that has come out of this documentary, obviously apart from his damage to his image, was that the UK police saw this and they said that they were going to step in and begin an investigation into the claims made against Russell. And you know what? For a while there, it's been a year and a half over...
Why are they just not just arresting him if he did it quickly? They usually do it
a year and a half since that whole documentary released, a lot of people thought that not much was going to come out of it. But then, this morning, we woke up to the shocking news that Russell Brand has now officially been charged with rape and 2 counts of sexual assault. He is also being charged with 1 count of oral rape and 1 count of indecent assault. Now, these charges relate to 4 separate women, just like in the Channel 4 documentary, but here's what's interesting, because as we mentioned earlier, those incidents allegedly happened between 2006 and 2013. But the incidents that he's actually being charged with today, well, they are allegedly from 1999 to 2005, meaning it doesn't appear that these are the same 4 women, rather 4 additional individuals, and they are certainly not the same events. One of the allegations is from 1999, which is now 26 years ago. And I mean, even if you think about the country of where these allegations are made, like for example, here in America, where I'm currently visiting, they have something called the Statute of Limitation, which says that in the case of allegations of between adults and there's no DNA evidence, there's a limit of taking criminal action with the police, for example, of 10 years. However, in the UK, where these allegations are being made, there is no statute of limitation. So a victim could hypothetically report to the police 90 years after the incident happened. Now, in addition to the charges he's facing in the United Kingdom, he's also facing a civil lawsuit in the United States. An individual currently suing Russell Brand claims that he followed her to a bathroom where he assaulted her while on the set filming the movie Arthur in 2011. The individual told the court, as a result of the sexual abuse, I suffered and continue to suffer extreme embarrassment, shame, and fear. And interestingly, just a few days ago, Russell actually pleaded with that court in New York, it is, I believe, asking the judge if this civil lawsuit could be put on pause and wait until the outcome of the criminal investigation that's happening in the United Kingdom, which kind of implies that he knew that this was coming to a head. So, what happens now? Well, we know that on the second...
I'm guessing he's probably going to jail.
2nd of May, he will appear in court where the charges will be formally read to him, and it's at that point where they will decide whether he can go out on bail or be put in jail until his next court date. In that next court date, he will likely plead not guilty, since he has previously denied all allegations, and then if he does, he will then go before a jury. Now, I imagine this is going to be a long, drawn-out process, but if he is found guilty, he will most likely go to jail, because, of course, the severity...
He probably might pass in there
of these charges, and if he is not found guilty, well then he will go free. And this is where it becomes seriously controversial, because on the one hand you got people saying things like, he speaks out about the government on a daily basis and has done for years. Do you really think he's done these heinous crimes, or is it the easiest...
Andrew Tate did it, and so I don't know if he did it or not, even alleged.
way to destroy him. If you speak out against the system, they will attempt to destroy you. While on the other side, you have people saying that's why he went full on religion. He is trying to say they are attacking me on my religion and politics. People got to realize him being against the elite was the grift to keep people on his side and to not trust the media when the allegations inevitably come to light, and it's worked so many defenders. But what does Russell himself say on the whole situation? Well, about an hour after the news broke, he posted this on Twitter, simply titled, "My Response."
Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people, institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right now? How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer? Now, that's just sort of general context. Me, I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, we're just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. And of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free. And we will be continuing to discuss this matter.
But I guess that's all we have for today. Let's wait for the legal system to come to their own conclusions before we say innocent or guilty. Love you all. I'm still out here in America, but I will, of course, be here for the news roundup Monday or Tuesday. We'll see how things go. But until then, I'll see you.
So basically, he probably, I don't even know. Whatever happened, happened. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he didn't. I don't know what happened to him. What's going to happen to him. I'm not a fortune teller or I'm not the Flash. I can't go in time, front and forward in time to the future and stuff, and see what's going on. But like, whatever is gonna happen, will happen. I don't know. YouTuber arrested for killing 200 people. Guy was trying to go for a streak. He was going for a streak. Isn't this Invincible isn't as innocent? Obviously, he killed people. A lot of people. He'll love this mom. That's all. What the hell? In the found shit. I'm trying to see this, bro. Oh, the African tribe.
Hey everybody, my name is.
Some island. They were not. Basically, they have no immunity, and they kill. They tried killing anyone who comes there. Are you not? I swear that you're not supposed to be able to go there. I don't know if it's the same island I'm talking about. You see some island, I think it's around close to Brazil. I don't know where it is. But, or India, close to India. You see a tribe of African, I don't know if they're African people. Yeah, somewhere. They basically dark and they basically are like, how do they have not evolved? They use stakes and bows. Not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They basically had no immunity to the diseases that people have these days. Just like when basically the Americans came, or you European people came to Canada, when Canada was just a regular thing. First Nation people did not have no immunity to all diseases, and which kind of brought out smallpox and other stuff to Canada. Mm-hmm. Thousands of years, yeah. They're dying. Lifetime or death, yeah. GG's. They would probably like shoot bullet their arrows at you, bro. Most likely what they're doing. Just start shooting, spraying at you, bro. You can get like either like 7 arrows in your belly and stuff.
Who is watching?
Me. Oh, watch it.
You know
Yes,
what?
I know.
We are going to church early.
Mhm.
9:30.
9:30.
Yes.
For what, the breakfast thing?
Yes.
Church starts when?
11. So we're going to.
That's so early though.
Free food. Yeah, after he's gonna get.
We were arriving there at 9:30. We're leaving the house at.
Drop out by 6. Come back
At 6 a.m.
Yes. So come out from back.
Wasn't that the guy who went there to read Bible there? I think he went there to read the Bible, trying to just, and they killed him.
What time are we going to go? Because I heard that we're going 9
No,
o'clock.
no.
I heard it lasts a lot. It lasts like 10 hours. Yeah.
I'm telling you when I'm leaving. I don't know for you.
Oh, you're leaving that. Oh, we're not leaving the same time.
Maybe you have to fly to that place before you must be there.
I have wings I can leave.
Mhm. Boom. If someone recorded him, why the hell didn't they do anything to stop him? They want to stay on the private island, or maybe they basically where their ancestor was basically won a Mr. Beast challenge and got that to keep the island. Think about it. What the hell? But look, I still don't know how that. Oh, wait, probably when he was going back, that's when they saw. My bad. But that's when they saw him. Probably saw him when he was going back. And GG's, bro.
Go to Wix.com and set up your store on a single integrated platform.
Arrested for sitting on the bench is crazy. Crazy. Well, anyways, let me see this.
Aw, someone misses their mommy. Today we're talking about Full Mask Mark. Is there a reason he decides to cover his face? What happened to the debut of his universe? Well, those are questions that I will attempt to make believable answers for. But unlike my videos about the previous variants, this won't solely be about his possible origin. I'd also like to put into perspective just how dangerous a variant like this could be. You know, some people wonder whether or not he's even evil, or if he even hurt anyone during the war. I'm sorry to burst you guys' bubble, but he's one of the few variants we see floating over.
He's like one of the somewhat good ones. You know when they say that? He's a good one? He's one of them.
A destroyed city. No one else did the damage for him, and I doubt he'd be able to level a city without any casualties. Besides, the fact that he's willing to work with a group of psychopaths and clearly evil people for his own personal gain is enough proof that he's far from innocent or anything close to a hero. But let's not get too deep into that topic for now. Although Full Mask Mark didn't have too much screen time, with the time he did have, he made a pretty good impression on the Invincible fans. He was one of the only ones that seemed to be somewhat humane. Somewhat. Remember that word. I wouldn't be surprised if his life looked identical to our Mark's for a majority of it before the switch happens. The main thing this variant drives home is how much he
misses his mom. Somebody misses mommy.
misses his mom. So any theories of Debbie being absent from his life fly right out of the window. But then again, I doubt he mostly grew up with Omni-Man. Why? Because if Debbie was removed early on, he'd likely be conditioned to suppress his emotions, much like what we see from Viltrumite Mark. Even coming to the conclusion that she passes away later on in his life, we still have to figure out why and how. A lot of people would immediately assume that her passing would be a result of Omni-Man's actions. And while I do agree that that is very possible, I also think there's a very real chance that it was a result of Mark himself. So I'll go over the arguments for both stances, and if you guys know anything about my theories at this point, you'd know how heavily character designs come into play when creating them. Especially with someone like Art being the creator of most costumes, we know that as a part of his design process, he likes to get to know the person he's creating the costume for. Many
I have to finish this paper. I'm swamped. No one told me college would be so damn.
people have already pointed out how Invincible's blue suit is a direct contrast to Omni-Man's costume. And what do you know? Mask Vincible has the same colors. I think this is a very intentional decision.
Yeah, Omni-Man's colors are basically hot colors, while his is cold. He has one hot color and has a white. When that basically he's good at deflecting heat. He has one that basically absorbs heat in the worst way. And the cold color.
Can't get full episodes devoted to each variant, so they sprinkle in little details and information through their designs. Taking this fact into account, we could easily make the argument that this isn't a Mark that sided with his father, which is interesting because he doesn't come across as ruthless as someone like Sinister Mark, or as cold and calculating as Omni-Mark, so it's very hard for me to imagine he offed his dad. Think of Omni-Mark, but flipped on his head. He's cold, no nonsense, and mature. All
Swearing does not make you cool.
things you'd expect from Omni-Man. This variant, however, is a direct contrast. He's emotional, defensive, and conflicted. A lot more human. While it is possible that Omni-Man ended Debbie's life and that drove Mark into acting out of that human anger and offing him, that's not the only way things could have gone. She could have been severely injured due to collateral damage caused by the Chicago fight, or something of a similar scale that was caused by Omni-Man. Main Universe Mark already blames himself for everything, so his mom being one of the casualties caused in that fight would definitely weigh on him. If his Omni-Man was at all similar to ours, he probably wouldn't resist Mark's attempt on his life after realizing what he's done, and that could be the way Mark defeats him, as, you know, him giving up after offing the love of his life. Now, I know he says,
"Not all of us killed Mom."
But is he really a reliable source of information?
Not all of us killed Mom.
but is he really a reliable source of information? He's more human than most of the other variants, right? And what do humans have a bad habit of doing? Lying. Not to mention, he doesn't seem to be stable. His words are a little frantic and he gets very defensive over small things. If he did actually off his mom, why would he want her back so badly, you may be asking? Because it was a mistake, possibly an accident, but probably a mistake. Accidents are actually different from mistakes because accidents are unintentional, but mistakes can be intentionally made within that moment. A lot of people bring up the scene of Mark saying, "Make me," to Debbie shortly after getting his powers.
And she said, because you does it make you feel better knowing that I can't do anything and something. Does that make you feel better? I can't make you do it. Does that make you feel strong because I can't make you do it? And I forgot what she said.
This Mark has a fragile self-esteem, and whenever it's put into question, he lets his emotions get the better of him. I feel like this is what makes him so dangerous. He can appear to be nice or approachable when you hear his motivations, but when you dig any deeper than that, you'd start to understand why Engstrom chose him to be part of the war. That's something else you have to take into account. Engstrom has the memories of other Engstroms, so he knows the worst of the worst when it comes to the variants, and this is one he chose. If Mark did off his mom and quickly come to regret it later, it'd make a lot of sense. Kind of like when people rage over video games and break their setup, or someone says something they don't mean in the heat of an argument. It would also explain why he wears a mask. Not because he's disfigured, but because he wants to hide from himself. He doesn't want to look in the mirror and see the face of the person that took his mother's life. Or Omni-Man just offed her to make him sad. Holy crap, guys, we're almost at 10,000. The last time I said that in my last video, we were at a little bit over 7,000. YouTubers can't do it without you, you know? And that is so very true. My videos have been extremely successful recently, and I appreciate that more than you know. I'm very glad you guys are enjoying this content because I'm enjoying making it. And there's been multiple times in my YouTube career, I guess you could say, because I have been doing this for, you know, a little bit over 2 years. There's so many times where I used to make videos and spend a lot of time on those videos, and then I kind of felt like, what was it all for, you know, because they were passion projects, but no one were really seeing them. So it gets to a point as a creator, you know, you're spending hours editing a video, you're, you know, writing everything, you have the idea, you spend like half an hour or an hour on the thumbnail, and just for like 10 people to see it. And that's nice that 10 people clicked on it, but at the same time, you just want your stuff to get out there more. And more than anything, I just want to connect with more people that like the same stuff I like, you know? And Invincible is so peak. It's peak, trust me. And obviously you guys know this, which is why you've been enjoying this series. But don't worry, this isn't all I have to offer. I'm not a one-trick pony. I do have other videos I plan on making, but I kind of want to wrap up this series first before I start doing that. And hopefully you guys stick around.
I switched from due dates to due dates, and it made me go from weeks behind to weeks ahead of my deadlines. You see, I used to just bedrot all day getting nothing done. And you know that feeling of anxiety where ticking off items on your daily chores and to-do list is quite...
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Genius cannabis scam ever. Hey, this last time I watched it. Hey, the most genius cannabis scam ever done in history. Let's see it.
Imagine being able to grow your own weed from home, completely legit, with just a few clicks. You buy
don't really know the rules of it, but like, could you just fight for no reason? Like, or does it have to be like someone pushes you and you don't like it and you just start fighting? Or could you just hop in the game, start fighting, and just stuff like that?
Buy the plants online, and a company cultivates them for you in real greenhouses.
Also, someone made an app that basically does it. That you basically tax and pay, then the person brings it to you.
When the harvest is sold,
That just reminds me of like Ghost, the movie. Yeah, it's a show actually.
you get a cut of the profits. The cannabis market is booming, and the returns are huge, massive even. So you keep investing, possibly spending your entire savings. And then, one day, it's all gone. That's exactly what happened to thousands of clients who invested in a firm called Juicy Fields. And the story behind all this is just wild. A flashy, revolutionary startup sponsoring international cannabis expos. A promo video starring a German rapper packed with hidden clues. A CEO with an Ivy League degree who barely speaks English. A business address leading to a castle and a group of fake aristocrats. Alleged criminals trying and failing to smoke joints through the slits in their Guy Fawkes masks. Hundreds of millions in losses. Investigations all across Europe. And a mysterious mastermind secretly pulling the strings.
Why am I hearing the Portuguese song? I did not. That sounds like Bad Bunny. I only heard the first word, and I think it's Bad Bunny. Guy took literally half of the whole thing, or maybe someone else from this. Took 80% of it and left me with 20. Really had it, bro.
of this water now, please. Huh? took 60. Yeah, 2d6. You took 40. Yeah. That's 40 in your eyes, right? You did? 3d6. I took 60, you took 40. Yeah. I don't know how you're trying to. It's 80% of that. That was 80% too? Oh shit. You surely weren't seeing the pot if you think that was. Yeah, like I didn't do this. You'd be expecting fucking chips. I'm not gonna be reading until you took 5. You took 60, stop crying about putting 60 and 40. You took 40. I took 80 because I did more work. Oh sure, it is what it is. It's humans. Greed always. It is what it is. What? Nature. The fuck? Oh my god, why is that fucking Mexican in my ear, bro? Yo, Foxy niggas is. Yo, Foxy, bro. I'm going here, bro. Fuck this shit. Niggas is so pussy. Wait, Juan? Where's Juan? Bro, you literally like lose to one your own. It's because you're beating niggas on my old picture account. We have Xavier? Xavier? Yo. Ain't no way. His ass. You're not working tomorrow now, so you're going to church. So we're going to leave. Maybe you sleep after now. What do you want, bro? No, not, bro.
My bad. Make it. Hey. Hello. This doesn't pour on my mouse, and it's like Here, pause. This year.
Money green. Started with a dream. Now we get.
So it was low-key wrong. Oh, it's not Bad Bunny.
Rich now, me. Money green. Straight out of Medellin. Grown as a motherfucking team. Money.
The story of Juicy Fields was originally covered in depth by a brilliant 8-part investigative German podcast called Cannabis Cowboys. We spoke with one of the creators for this video, and also partly based our research on a great YouTube documentary by Die Spur. You'll find both links in the description.
In his research, Dr. Morrison identified a paradox. A moment.
Cannabis is booming, and not just on the black market. As of March 2025, 54 countries have legalized weed for medical or recreational use, and that number keeps growing, constantly. Estimates suggest that legal cannabis sales in Europe will soon have increased more than tenfold in the last 5 years.
It most likely made it illegal. Basically to reduce illegal stuff.
To 2025. Despite being a young industry, the market is already dominated by a few major players, publicly traded companies worth billions of dollars. But one startup is set on shaking things up. In 2019, Juicy Grow officially launches in Berlin, pitching an innovative business model. Crowd growing. Small investors chip in small investments. Juicy Fields channels the funds, grows the plants, and distributes the profits. Getting started is easy. You sign up, pick a plant, and watch it grow in your virtual greenhouse. The cheapest one is 50 euros. A few months later, the harvest is sold for 68 to 83 euros, yielding up to 66% in returns. Other plants can cost up to 2,000 euros, but will of course generate higher profits down the line. Juicy Fields markets itself pretty aggressively. They pay YouTubers to push the platform with affiliate links. They sponsor major weed expos, like Spannabis in Barcelona, and they flaunt their success with flashy stunts, Lamborghinis, pompous parties, lightly clad dancers, and an obscene amount of bling. This promo video takes things to another level. Passengers are handed airplane-shaped joints and welcomed on board by Captain Blunt and his co-pilot Mary Jane. Next stop, a massive hotbox party up in the clouds. Another video shows a relatively successful German rapper endorsing Juicy Fields.
Money in your hands, buy a couple lamps, grow a couple plants.
Don't speak about that nigga. He'll switch you and your granny, nigga. That nigga's not a joke. He'll switch down your whole family. He shaved his dreads off. Yo, Rain, give me a sorry set, bro. This shit, man, slow. Wait. What the fuck? This is so ass, bro. Yo, wait.
Money green. Money green. Oh shit, let's go.
And then there's this guy here, sniffing cannabis bud.
I'm guessing this is like the owner or something.
It's like a sommelier. Just moments earlier in the video, he was playing Captain Blunt. He's the CEO of Juicy Fields, Alan Glantz.
How did I guess that? I've not watched this video before. You just look like the CEO. The head, bald head.
The face of the company. His mission is to take down the cannabis oligopoly, legal weed for everyone, the Robin Hood of ganja game. On the company's website and his LinkedIn profile, he presents himself as a visionary entrepreneur, but despite his supposed Ivy League degree, in interviews his English is, well, pretty shit.
The guys is incredible, is working the perfect. I'm not know it's about the how many, like 5-star.
But the message still hits home. A tight-knit community forms. And to be fair, apart from the CEO's sketchy resume, Juicy Fields seems pretty legit at first glance. The website lists several renowned cannabis producers as partners. They offer tours of real greenhouses and webcam live feeds of the crops. They actually keep their promises, frequently distributing major payouts. In 2021, Juicy Fields harvests a staggering 72 tons of cannabis. They claim their production costs are just a tenth of their competitors. After only 2 years, the platform already has 500,000 investors, mostly from Germany, but also from Austria, Spain, and Portugal. Juicy Fields is a massive success, until it all comes crashing down. Now imagine you're running a real business, legit and serious, a good product, a team that shows up every day, loyal customers who count on you. There are dozens of separate workflows, managed through dozens of separate tools, project management, sales, admin, and HR, emails, invoices, chats, and deadlines. It can be pretty overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software. Telegram groups and social media profiles vanish. Then, on July 13th, investors are suddenly unable to log into their accounts. At that moment, Juicy Fields is sitting on investments worth at least 400 million euros. No one knows what will happen with all that money. The CEO has been fired just before the fallout. He drops a series of shirtless video messages, swearing he's innocent.
I'm innocent. I'll never take your money, okay, in my side.
Glantz insists he wasn't really involved in the business. He says the real masterminds were shadowy figures he only met a couple of times in person. Many employees claim to be just as clueless. Some speak of mysterious backers they never saw face to face. Meanwhile, thousands of investors keep trying to log into their Juicy Fields accounts. To no avail. At this point, you might think you know what this is. A classic scam. The promised returns were just too good to be true. Tough luck. Too many red flags in the first place. But assume no further. This is just the beginning.
Fiverr's got talented freelancers for anything we need.
Yeah! The team kept growing their business with Fiverr freelancers handling a variety of tasks.
On July 16th, the Juicy Fields website suddenly publishes the full names and contact details of several individuals, people who had never been publicly linked to the company before. The statement accuses them of plotting a hostile takeover. It claims the customer logins had to be frozen to prevent that. This is Nicholas Martin, a journalist at the German public international broadcaster Deutsche Welle. He has followed the case from the start and spent over a year investigating it. He explains that Juicy Fields split into two fractions. The old Juicy Fields, made up of the platform's original founders, and the new Juicy Fields, a group of individuals based in Germany. These new people are all connected to Juicy Fields AG, a PLC registered in Switzerland, so they seem to have some actual ties to the platform. Their official address is a castle, and many of them boast long and complicated noble titles, counts, dukes, and princes. But according to Martin's research, these people are only fake aristocrats. Their titles are not real. The old Juicy Fields operators zero in on a wannabe nobleman in particular. They claim he stole all the funds and disappeared, hinting that he's hiding out in the Bahamas to evade taxes. They tell him to stop acting nasty, and that they're getting irritated by his actions, especially their guys in black.
So are they basically putting him on, what's it called? Are they basically using him as scapegoat, even though they took the money?
Hoods. Leaked documents suggest that Juicy Fields' main bank account was opened by one of those fake aristocrats. If this were true, the new guys from Switzerland would have had direct access to all the money and could run off with it. At this point, it really does look like Juicy Fields was undermined by a criminal gang of fake German noblemen. But the presumed aristocrats fight back. They claim they never had access to the main bank account, saying it was set up with a fake passport and a fake signature. To prove their point, they leak internal documents allegedly exposing the real masterminds behind Juicy Fields, the people running the website and the company itself. According to these documents, 4 Russian-born men are listed as the official owners of the German Juicy Grow GmbH. The leak even includes passport copies for 3 of them. The company's actual CEO appears to be a man named Victor Bittner, a Russian-born German who has stayed completely out of the spotlight until now. But the main shareholder and the true mastermind behind all of it is supposed to be a Russian named Paul Bergholz. It also turns out that Juicy Fields wasn't just operating through 1 or 2 companies. The companies in Germany, GmbH Ltd, and Switzerland, AG plc, appear to be linked to at least 6 other European firms. The company's legal imprint starts to get edited on an almost daily basis, and nobody knows by whom. Then, a newly appointed CEO from South Africa speaks up. Again, there's no way to prove this guy is who he claims he is. In November 2022, Juicy Fields appears to have summoned a so-called anti-crisis committee. All attendees are hiding behind V for vendetta masks. They keep blaming the new Juicy Fields, and even dangle the hopes of recovering lost investments. But the whole thing feels surreal. One of the 6 masked figures tries to smoke a joint through the slit in his mask, and fails spectacularly. It's total and utter chaos. There's countless leaks and docs flying around. There are CEOs, founders, shareholders, presidents, and consultants. But who is really calling the shots? It will soon turn out that all the chaos and confusion is not accidental. It's most likely part of a meticulously orchestrated farce. Behind all these weird characters and blatant amateurs is someone who knows exactly what they're doing.
Puppet and his fixes.
October 2021, 9 months before the login freeze. Victor Bittner sits alone in Berlin. On paper, he is the CEO of the German branch Juicy Grow, but he's not the one calling the shots. The real power lies with a small group operating out of St. Petersburg. Bittner is little more than a frontman, a puppet CEO, facilitating access to the German market. He is also the one who set up the German bank accounts that are now full to the brim with millions of investments. But the world is in lockdown, and traveling is nearly impossible. Bittner's bosses are stuck in distant Russia, and Bittner starts wondering, why not take the money and make a run for it? He seizes the moment and hogs 1.5 million euros for himself. But it doesn't go unnoticed. The puppeteers in Russia order their in-house fixer to fix the situation. Bittner is marked for liquidation, but the fixer refuses, opts out, and walks away. About a year later, he blows the whistle. Using the alias Anders, he reaches out to a Swedish lawyer who represents people affected by the Juicy Field scam, Lars Olofsson.
The whistleblower Anders said that I don't want to be a part of this. Yes, I could scam people, I'm a criminal, yes, but I don't want to be involved in killing.
So it's basically like a W man who was trying to play the role as Batman.
Nicholas Martin and the creators of Despair documentary have spoken to Anders as well. We can't independently verify his claims, but Despair was able to prove that he was in fact part of a criminal network in St. Petersburg. Anders says Juicy Fields wasn't just a massive scam, but a perfectly orchestrated puppet show. With a brilliant...
This shit kept it on going like for longer. Think about it. It really got 500k investors, 500,000 investors, bro. They could have easily just kept it up, kept it going. If they did, bro, they would have been good. Maybe like 1 billion people would just start investing in there. Then after, run with the money. Basically turn into like a crypto pump and dump. Like, instead of just going, you basically went for the easy open door. Actually, if they did the million, FBI will be probably on them.
Brilliant mastermind, pulling the strings on a whole cast of disposable puppets.
Turn your pastime into your full-time.
The most visible of them was Alan Glantz. Anders confirms that he never was some business genius with a degree from an elite university.
Thank you guys for understanding.
He appears to have been a taxi operator in St. Petersburg before his stint at Juicy Fields. His real name isn't Alan.
He basically faked it and put that shit on LinkedIn, even though he was not it.
It's Anatoly. They bought him designer suits and a Rolex to make him look the part. The entire Juicy Field success story was carefully staged. The 72-ton harvest, the 500,000 investors completely made up. Most of the big-name partners had no idea they were being featured on the website. The Lamborghinis were rentals. The tours took people to random cannabis plantations with zero connections to Juicy Fields. And the profits from those crops, the sales never actually happened. There was no revenue stream whatsoever to pay out those returns. The truth is that Juicy Fields was never even allowed to sell cannabis-derived financial products. The Berlin Trade Register officially listed the company as a gardening supply business. Everything points to a classic Ponzi scheme. New investors kept pumping in new cash, and the old investors got their payouts from that same pool of money. Of course, the whole system only works as long as it keeps growing. But the masterminds knew it wouldn't last forever. According to Anders, they had a clever exit strategy, a tangled web of shell companies, a bank account in Cyprus, and a few hand-selected fall guys to take the hit.
That's what I was saying. These guys basically just set them up, basically use them as a scapegoats.
Calling them useful idiots. These are people who are just being paid to be seen and signing papers and so. They are not the mastermind.
Anders says the entire power struggle was orchestrated too, a big fat red herring to sow confusion and distract people from what was really happening. The accusations against the fake aristocrats, the leaked Russian passports, probably all staged. The passports are fake, the names made up, the photos edited. The only real thing is this: there really was a tight inner circle behind Juicy Fields, and they were really led by one mastermind. His name just wasn't Paul Bergholtz.
So that's basically his alias? What the hell, bro? God did not use his actual name. It's lucky smart though.
Anders describes him as a low-key, tech-savvy guy.
So he's basically like a hacker.
An IT expert, darknet enthusiast, and
Hacker, bro.
die-hard cannabis fan. Oh, and apparently he's really into rap. Juicy Fields produced multiple promotional music videos, and Martin's research suggests that the rap lyrics in them were actually written by Paul himself. In one of the music videos, you can see these Russian Matryoshka dolls in the background. Anders says Paul explicitly requested that. But why? As a hidden Easter egg? A subtle flex? Why would he deliberately draw attention to his home country? Was he so sure that no one could touch him there?
Money, money, green. Started with a dream. Now we getting rich now.
And this is not the end of it. Whistleblower Anders claims the entire thing. Juicy Fields. The Ponzi.
You're supposed to be the hockey expert. You watch it.
If someone has the puck, I think this is all in Gabby's thinking. I don't know if this is true, but basically, like, when someone pushes you, like, until the glass or, like, blocks you, you're allowed to, like, push them back, but fighting is, like, kind of, like, prohibited or something like that. Which is so dumb because, like, bro, if someone keeps on pushing you, like, obviously, like, you're gonna want to punch them. I'm just saying.
Shit.
Scheme, the puppet show, it was all just a front for an even bigger operation.
Bro. And that, you know, that one, Euros is like the most, it's literally the, what's it called? The highest. It's literally the highest. Euros, then USD, then I don't know what else.
Money laundering.
Biggest fish. He's the biggest fish.
At the heart of Juicy Fields' finances was a bank account in Cyprus, a country long accused of turning a blind eye to shady financial dealings. That account alone processed over €500 million since it was opened up. The cannabis investments might have been the perfect cover for an old-fashioned money laundering scheme. The dirty money flows into illegal business, blends it into its revenue stream, and comes out clean on the other end. In other words, the Ponzi scheme and the money laundering machine could have been a perfect match. Anders claims the masterminds had direct ties to a Colombian drug cartel. Was Juicy Fields a front to wash cartel money? Martin and his team spoke to the German prosecutor's office. According to them, Juicy Fields was linked to organized crime in Russia. And St. Petersburg doesn't...
By the mafia, the mob boss.
Indeed seem to be the hub. The city is infamous for being a stronghold of the Russian mob. Experts believe an operation of this...
Don't ever come to the Soviet Russia. They're low-key tough though. The mob is actually insane. They're literally tough. They're strong, you know. Kinda, I'm glazing them right now.
Scale could only go down if it's somehow sanctioned by the Kremlin. Viktor Bittner is believed to be connected to Russia's FSB intelligence service. But this is where the trail went cold for a while. The picture got too blurry and too speculative.
Co-producer is going to give you unique sounds that fits your track in seconds. First, let it listen.
Fast forward a couple of years. Finally, a breakthrough. Investigative reporters managed to identify the mastermind at the top, a Russian named Sergei Berezhin. An international research network, Correctiv, and other outlets found that he was the one operating under fake names like Paul Bergholz. His network allegedly scammed €645 million from investors and funneled the money through a complex web of shell companies. After nearly 2 years on the run, Berezhin was finally arrested in the Dominican Republic and extradited to Spain in August 2024. There, he now faces charges of fraud, money laundering, and running a criminal organization.
So how is that the most successful business?
Berezhin's father was a Russian nuclear scientist with political and military connections. That adds weight to the long-standing suspicions that Juicy Fields may have been a joint operation between the Russian mob and the FSB, designed to funnel Western money into shadowy activities, potentially even the war in Ukraine. Then there's the alleged whistleblower, Anders. Turns out his real name is Igor Kekshin, and he wasn't just some low-level insider. He was directly involved in the Juicy Fields operation. But in a bizarre twist, Kekshin later revoked all of his statements. Apparently, someone tried to kill him, twice. In one incident, his car was blown up shortly after he returned to Russia. The suspects were driving a car registered to Berezhin's father. Someone must have
Oh, someone probably knew it was him. It's probably the mob that did
wanted
it.
him permanently silenced. Meanwhile, Lars Olofsson, the Swedish lawyer who represented Juicy Fields victims, has come under scrutiny himself. Reports now suggest he may have been playing both sides, working with both the scam's victims and some of its key perpetrators. Berezhin's network was ultimately dismantled. In April 2024, law enforcement across 11 countries coordinated a massive crackdown. 9 arrests, 38 raids, and over 400 officers deployed, all targeting other key players behind the scheme. And yet, despite all this, thousands of victims are still waiting for their money. The Juicy Fields scandal
They might not even get it.
is a textbook case of how reality and deception can blur in massive financial frauds. What's real? What's fake? Even now, it's hard to say. But one thing is clear. If something sounds too good to be true,
It probably is.
it usually is.
But Loki, video was Loki educating me. This probably took me an hour. This is almost an hour. That was make cooking food and stuff. Doing all other things while I'm doing this. But yeah, it was Loki fun. Good to talk, bro. My forehead is Loki itching. It's itching, bro. Every time I go like that, I just can feel it right here. Fuck, it's a pimple. But yeah, I'm gonna see you. Be safe, bro.